When I was 18, I took in a rebellious girl no one wanted. I tried everything, but I could never warm her up. Then her childhood sweetheart showed up, and I realized she did have a soft side. It just wasn't for me. The day I let go, I told a lie. I said I'd be right back, but I never returned. 7 years later, on set, we met again. She was now a film queen. She grabbed me and said, "You said you'd be right back. Where the hell did you go?" My palms were sweating with nerves. Jin Hui, the newly crowned Best Actress, was just 5 meters behind me. If I turned around, I'd run right into her. The assistant director said, "Miss Jin, in this next scene, you're running into your ex. Show some longing, some reluctance." Jin Hui let out a soft, mocking laugh. "Longing? Assistant director, is something wrong? What's there to long for? He's an ex." Her voice was as cool and distant as ever. At 18, it was with that same voice she used to call me, sometimes gently, sometimes coldly. "Ah, hi." The conversation behind me continued, but I couldn't make out the words. What I did catch was her voice, sharp and clear. "My ex? Long forgotten. I don't do second chances. And if I'm the one being chased, didn't bother. I'm not interested in reconnecting." The scene wrapped. Everyone went their separate ways. I was just about to breathe easy when a coworker suddenly shouted, "Hi! Found the prop yet?" The set went dead silent. I picked up the prop and ran like hell. Jin Hui didn't come after me. Maybe she didn't hear, or maybe she did and just didn't care. While setting up the studio, I told my coworker, "Next time, call me Xiao Cheng, not Ah Hai." "What? Ah Hai sounds great. Xiao Cheng sounds more professional." He laughed and bought it. This was my first job as an assistant director. Before I joined the team, I already knew the lead actress was Jin Hui. She was born into fame, with half the industry at her fingertips, and annoyingly enough, she could actually act. At 25, she'd already won Best Actress. As for me, I happened to be her first love. I debated whether to take the job, but in the end, I couldn't pass up such a great opportunity. I made myself a promise. Don't let her recognize me. If she does, I'm screwed. Because 7 years ago, our breakup was messy. In my letter, I wrote, "I've always known you're a star's daughter. I only got close to dig up dirt on your family. I never even liked bad girls. I like the gentle kind. Don't contact me again. Bye." The cooler the words sounded, the more pathetic I looked leaving. I don't know how she felt reading that letter, but I knew one thing: Jin Hui never lets things go. If she figured out who I was, she might just ruin my career. A colleague said, "She's even more gorgeous in real life. Her genes are next level. Of course, look at her parents. Movie royalty. They could pass down looks in their sleep. I like her vibe, you know, so classy and refined." Bet she was the school queen back in the day. I almost choked. Jin Hui, the school belle? Way off. She wasn't admired, she was feared. The top dog. The girl everyone avoided. I'll never forget the first time I saw her. She'd just finished brawling with a gang of girls, bruised all over. It was pouring. People rushed past her in the rain, but she sat there like a corpse, motionless by the roadside. I only saw her lift her head when I got closer. "Get lost," she snapped. Her tone was like a rabid dog about to attack, but I didn't leave. I just held an umbrella over her head. That's how it started, between me and Jin Hui. I shook the memory out of my head. The studio was too noisy, so I ducked into the stairwell. As I pushed the door open, a wave of smoke hit me. Jin Hui stood there in the dark, a glowing ember at her fingertips, watching me coldly just like back then. The stairwell was dark, quiet. I lowered my head, ready to leave, but she called out to me. "What do you do?" "Assistant director. Just graduated." Just graduated and already working for Director Zhang? Impressive. "Thank you, Miss Jin." "How old are you?" 25. She chuckled lazily. "Same age as me. And you're calling me Ms. Jin?" "The assistant director does too. He's 43. "Then say it again." I forced it out. "Ms. Jin." I couldn't see clearly in the dark, but it felt like she smiled. A cold, emotionless smile. It gave me chills. Still, I clung to hope in a way she recognized me. I looked completely different from 7 years ago. Back then, I was a scrawny little bean sprout. Now people call me cute. Even my own relatives barely recognize me anymore, let alone her, in the dark. Miss Jin, I'll let you rest. I'll head out now. Wait, she called again. What's your name? Chung Hai, I answered. Ever gone by another name? No. She fell silent. Cold sweat trickled down my back. I used to be Cheng Luo. I changed it later. She tricked me once. Now I was tricking her. Call it even. The summer before sophomore year, I found her at the street corner. She said she had nowhere to go. No family. I believed her. I thought she was like me, a kid nobody wanted. After my parents divorced when I was little, they both started new families. Each had sons. They didn't want me. I was dumped in my aunt's basement. I behaved well. I had to. Being good at least meant I got to eat. Jinhui and I were nothing alike. She smoked, fought, raised hell. I was quiet and shy, knew nothing but schoolwork. In our second year, we ended up in the same class. No one knew what her family did. Rumors said she was an orphan. No home. At school, we acted like strangers. But every night, she'd tap on my basement window. I'd clear a spot for her on the floor so she could sleep. The next morning, she'd leave before my aunt's family woke up, as if she'd never been there. She skipped class all the time, always showed up with injuries. Whenever I patched her up, she'd say, Chong Luo, can you be a little gentler? Call me Ah Hai, or Ah Hai, classmate, she said casually. Ah Hai was my nickname, given by my late grandma. I liked it more than Cheng Luot felt more like me. Because Jin Hui kept crashing on my floor, I subconsciously believed she was even more pitiful than I was. Worse, I started to imagine something else. One time, I forgot my textbook in class, and the teacher was grilling me. Jin Hui walked from the last row to the front, dropped her book on my desk, and walked away. I was a late bloomer's mall for Boyan students from other classes often bullied me. Whenever I stood there, too upset to fight back, Jin Hui would step in front of me and say I was under her protection. I mistook it for a bond, thought we were kindred spirits. It wasn't until much later that I realized we never were. Jin Hui was a second-gen star. Her family had properties and sports cars to spare. One of her shoes cost more than my entire wardrobe for the season. She was just using Mado piss off her family. When did I figure that out? Probably the day Su Zhaoran showed up. My thoughts were cut short. Back on set, someone shoved a cup of milk tea into my hand. Su Zhuran came to visit again, a coworker said. Bought drinks for everyone. Look, a rich, handsome guy, and the film queen talk about a perfect match. I looked over. Jin Hui stood slightly turned, listening to Su Zhuran talk. Like everyone else, I couldn't look away. It was such a beautiful scene. Suddenly, as if sensing something, Jin Hui looked straight at me. I quickly lowered my head. When I looked up again, she wasn't looking my way. Must have been my imagination. Su Zhaoran kept talking. Hui, once you wrap filming, come with me to the Paris fashion show. Same voice, same tone as 7 years ago. I couldn't help, drifting into memory. In high school, Jin Hui and I kept things clean, just classmates. It wasn't until after college entrance exams that summer that we got together, holding hands, hugging. Our first kiss, Jin Hui, wasn't exactly warm, but she didn't resist either. She never said sweet things, but in her own way, she was a decent girlfriend. Always showed up when I needed her. Never embarrassed me. But she never introduced me to her friends. Once, I went to a pool hall to surprise her. She looked pissed. Don't come here again, she snapped. I didn't think much of it then. Figured it was just her personality. Until Su Zhuran appeared. He walked in wearing an expensive suit, hair perfectly styled, like a spotlight cutting through my world. Hui, what are you doing here? Just got a new Ferrari. Come take a ride with me. The word Ferrari nearly knocked me off my feet. Su Zhuran turned to me, eyes wide. Hui, who's this? Hi, I'm Jin Hui's boyfriend. He scoffed. You're joking, right? No way Hui Hui would go for someone like you. I'm her future fiancé. Our families are engaged. Bullshit, Jinhui snapped, shoving him aside. Don't listen to him. I never agreed to any engagement. Her explanation sounded weak. Later, her parents came to talk to me. That's when I learned the truth. Jinhui wasn't just any second-gen star. Her family practically ran half the entertainment industry. She had a terrible relationship with her parents. On purpose, she transferred from a private school to a regular high school. On purpose, she refused to go home. Her parents were always away, barely involved in her life. At the end of that talk, her dad said, "Cheng, you may not realize it, but Jinhui's rebellious. She's with you to spite us. She doesn't really like you. She's pulled this kind of stunt before. Watch how she treats Zuruan, you'll understand. She likes Sauron. They've known each other since they were kids. She just hasn't realized it yet. Cheng, you and our family, you're from two different worlds." It hit me like thunder. Turns out, her dad wasn't lying. She always said Zuron annoyed her, but she was endlessly patient with him. One time, Sauron was laughing at how poor I was. The next moment, Jinhui walked in, and he instantly changed his face. "Hui Hui, Cheng Luo just called in a bunch of thugs to beat me up." Jinhui instantly panicked. Hi, didn't I tell you? Stay away from him." Right then, I got it. Jinhui wasn't a stone. She just never bloomed for me. By late August, I accepted her parents' offer to study abroad with their sponsorship. Given my circumstances, this was probably my only shot at it. On the day I left, I told Jinhui I was going to buy chocolate. She pulled out her wallet, like always. "Get the most expensive one." "No need," I said. "I'll be right back." "Okay, I'll wait." But I never returned. Following her parents' request, I left a cruel breakup letter, ending everything. That brief 3-month summer romance faded quietly into fall. I changed my name, cut all ties with high school classmates. I never stood out much, and I used to get bullied a lot. I cherished my hard-earned scholarship, learned to work out and dress better. With a new name, a new look, and Jinhui's parents helping cover it up, she never found me. As far as she was concerned, I might as well have died. But I still heard about her. After I left, she repeated her senior year, got into Beijing Film Academy, debuted during college, and her career took off. On camera, she looked graceful and kind, her smile enchanting fans everywhere. No trace of the girl I used to know. I thought people change. I did too. After a long day's work, my body ached, but my coworkers were buzzing. "Damn, this one's stunning." "What?" "New candid of Jinhui. It's trending." I leaned over. A paparazzi photo was blowing up online. "This scene's about running into her ex," someone said. "Look at her eyes so on point." She really brought the character to life. In the photo, Jinhui looked ahead quietly. Her posture elegant, yet fire burned in her gaze, wild and unrestrained. What really shook me, though, was the blurred figure at the edge of the frame, in the direction of her stare. It was me. The next day, shooting resumed. The male lead had a minor accident and needed to go to the hospital. It was a key scene with both leads. Delaying wasn't an option. The director was frantic. They decided to shoot Jinhui's solo shots first, with a stand-in. Jinhui insisted on picking the stand-in herself. I was standing way in the back. Her eyes landed on me. Him. I froze. The director didn't object, just told me to change into the male lead's costume. I was only needed for the back view, but to avoid inconsistencies, the makeup artist still did me up. When I stood in front of Jinhui, she looked momentarily dazed. I didn't dare meet her eyes. "Nervous?" she asked. "I've never acted before." "You don't need to act. Just listen." She paused. "Relax. If you're tense, your body stiffens. It'll look unnatural on camera." "Okay, I'll take a deep breath. Thank you, Miss Jin." In a moment, when the camera's on me, just listen to my lines." She stopped again. "What else?" I looked up at her. "Where's my chocolate?" she asked, slowly and deliberately. A wild glint flickered in her eyes, just like the old days. She reached out her hand. Hi. It's been 7 years. You should have bought it by now." "I'm screwed. That was my first thought." She must have recognized me long ago. Coincidentally, this scene was the heroine's heartfelt confession after a long separation. For a second, I imagined she was saying all that to me. But come on, this is Jin Hui we're talking about. She never once said anything romantic to me. After we wrapped, the director gave me a thumbs up. Xiao Cheng, you've got a real talent for this. That look in your eyes, perfect. Me? Maybe we were both just playing ourselves. In the following scenes, Jin Hui specifically requested me as her stand-in. I nearly lost it. Jin Hui was too important. Even the director couldn't afford to upset her. Assigning me now? If that wasn't payback, what was? I got promoted overnight from assistant to deputy director. Jin Hui's exclusive deputy. 18 hours a day, I had to stick to her side. But my job went far beyond directing. When the crew needed to move a heavy prop and I rolled up my sleeves, Jin Hui grabbed me. Go get me a milk tea. Not just milk tea, she ordered a pile of snacks too. We had delivery, but she insisted I go fetch it myself. Still, to be fair, my coworkers were all jealous. You get paid to leave the set and wander around? Lucky. Jin Hui never ate any of it. Don't feel like it. Take it away. And somehow, after working under her for a week, I gained weight. Soon, even my coworkers were suspicious. Is she feeding you on purpose? No way. But she spoils you like crazy, one said. Jin Hui's usually strict. Her company's co-financing this film. She's chewed out every deputy director except you. That's not true, I denied flatly. She's just not torturing me, that's all. But the gossip had already reached Suzuran's ears. He showed up in a hurry. So, you're Hui Hui's new assistant? I couldn't help correcting him. Deputy director. Young and already in charge? You sure you can handle it? Mr. Su, please don't judge by appearances. Suzuran stared at me for a long moment. Have we met before? You must be mistaken. I had zero interest in chatting with the rich boy. I went back to my notes. Suzuran sneered. I've met plenty of you set people. Don't think Hui Hui's favor means you've got a shot at climbing up. Know your place or you'll regret it. What are you talking about? You look a lot like her ex, he said, watching me for a reaction. He expected shock, pain, as if I'd just learned I was a stand-in. But I only looked at him, puzzled. So? She's only using you as a substitute. She doesn't actually like you. Don't get cocky. She hates that guy. I put down my pen and smiled. If she hates him so much, why find a stand-in? Doesn't that seem contradictory, Mr. Su? Suzuran had no response. After he left, I couldn't calm down. So Jin Hui really did hate me. That night, she messaged me, asked me to bring her medicine. Not wanting to offend the lead actress, I brought it to her. I thought she was just trying to boss me around again, but Nosh was genuinely sick. Sweat beaded on her forehead. What's wrong? I asked. Stomach pain. Where's your assistant? She went into the city, couldn't make it back. Strange Jin Hui never used to have stomach problems. What happened to your stomach? Senior year. I wasn't eating properly. Why not? No one saved me food. She said it with her eyes half-lidded, watching me. It reminded me of before when she used to crash on my floor. I'd always leave her some food. By the time I finished my homework, she'd cleaned the plate. What about the cafeteria? Gross. Still, the same stubborn streak. I glanced at the table piled high with steaming dishes. They just arrived, she said. But I can't eat with this stomachache. What a waste. I've been dying on those boxed lunches every day. Then eat, she said casually. Better than throwing it out. I broke a pair of disposable chopsticks and sat down. I ate quietly. The room was silent. I thought she'd fallen asleep, but when I turned, she was watching mesmiling. The moment our eyes met, the smile vanished. That same, the world owes me, look returned. Some things never change. We sat in silence, as usual. Just as I was about to leave, she spoke. Hi. There's nothing between me and Suzuran. Not before. Not now. Not ever. Oh, I nodded politely. But Ms. Jin, I don't care anymore. That one sentence made her sour for days. Didn't matter. We were almost done filming anyway. But then, just days before wrap, something unexpected happened. A scene on a boat, in strong wind. The sound guy went to the restroom. I filled in holding a boom mic longer than I was tall, standing at the edge of the deck. I wobbled, unsteady. A sudden gust hit me. I lost my balance and fell straight off the boat. There was a lake below. I couldn't swim. Amid the chaos, I heard someone shout, "Ah, hi!" Then Jin Hui dove in after me, grabbing me tight. Like she was never letting go. After that, I remembered nothing. I woke up in an unfamiliar room. At the bedside, a handwritten note. "This is my house. It's not far from the set. I got you time off. Rest up a few days. If you need clothes, check the dressing room. Just bought some men's outfits." The handwriting was clearly Jin Hui's. Many actors had homes near the set. Jin Hui was no exception. I'd read in gossip blogs that she often stayed there. The place was spotless. I walked into the dressing room. The first thing I saw was a black umbrella, the very one I held over Jin Hui all those years ago. It was old now, flimsy, poorly made. But it was placed in the center of the room, like it mattered more than anything else. I suddenly remembered that day of heavy rain how I held that umbrella against the storm. Jin Hui kept trying to chase me off, and I still don't know where I found the nerve, but I grabbed her sleeve and checked her wounds. "You!" She started to curse, then held back. "It's fine. No need to go to the hospital." I shoved the umbrella into her hand. "Wait here. I'll get medicine. Be right back." "Just go already," she snapped, clearly annoyed. 10 minutes later, I came back soaked to the bone with medicine and food. Jin Hui just stared at me silently. From that day on, she never spoke harshly to me again. I found out later she'd been genuinely shocked. No one in her life had ever come back for her. I was the first. The memory faded. I found the clothes and slowly got changed. I hadn't even finished putting on my shirt when the dressing room door swung open. Jin Hui and I froze. Awkward silence. She quickly backed out. When I stepped out, dressed, she said, "Why didn't you make any noise? I thought you left again." "Don't be mean," I said. Jin Hui paused. Her fire fizzled out instantly. That line always worked. Whenever she got snappy, I'd say it lightly and she'd instantly simmer down. To my surprise, it still worked. "I should be the one mad," I added. "Why didn't you knock before entering? How was I supposed to know you were in there?" Her face turned red. "I didn't see anything. Seriously. If you're upset, I can apologize. Sorry." I'd always known despite her tough shell, Jin Hui was oddly innocent about some things. "It's fine," I said, a little tired, and without thinking, not like you haven't seen it before. The second I said it, I regretted it. Sure enough, Jin Hui's face flushed red, all the way to her neck. I changed the subject. "You're off today, right?" Wrapped my scenes. "I'll go make some porridge." "Make sure you take your medicine later." After falling in, I caught a bit of a cold. When she brought over the porridge, she was wearing an apron. I couldn't help but stare a little. "You in an apron? Kinda sweet." "What did you say?" "Thank you." Her eyes lit up, like I'd just praised her, but her tone stayed gruff. "Eat all of it." "No wasting. Want anything else? I can reluctantly make you something." "No need. You do your thing." "No scenes for me tomorrow, so I'm not heading back to the set tonight." "Plenty of time to prep food." I hesitated. "You're sleeping here?" "Yeah. I'll move to the guest room. There aren't extra linens there. I'm sick. I'll just stay in bed. No need to overdo it." She pointed at the floor. "Same as before. I'll sleep on the floor." That night, I came down with a fever again. Jin Hui barely slept. She kept changing the towels on my forehead. In the haze, I started hallucinating. I thought I was back in that little basement. Jin Hui, lying on the ground, deliberately keeping her distance, a table between us. From my bed, all I could see was her thin, hunched back. There was one time, she was sick. She didn't tell me. I noticed something was off in the middle of the night. Her forehead burned. I gave her fever meds and kept wiping her face with a damp towel. Then she suddenly reached out and grabbed me, held on tightly, like she was scared I'd leave. She only let go. Once, she fell asleep. That was the last time we were truly closer right before graduation. Most of the time, we passed like strangers. Even at school, we barely acknowledged each other. After a long, fevered night, I woke up to find her gone. She'd been called for a reshoot, but on the table, there was a spread of food. In the center, a bar of chocolate, the most expensive kind. Halfway through the meal, someone walked in. I thought Jinhui was back, but it was a man I didn't recognize. Then, I remembered her agent, also a close friend. He stared at me and said, "Well, well, Jinhui's hiding a boy toy now." I scrambled to explain. "I'm just the crew's deputy director." He asked my name. "Just call me Ah Hai." He nearly jumped. "You're Ah Hai?" "What?" His eyes lit up in realization. "You're the Ah Hai?" Seeing my confusion, he added, "Jinhui looked for you like crazy. When she couldn't find you, she gave up on herself. Stopped eating, stopped sleeping. She hit rock bottom." He chuckled kindly. "Well, now she found you. She can finally rest easy. 7 years she doesn't have to torture herself anymore." "You're joking," I said. "We only dated for 3 months. Can't be that unforgettable." "How could you not know?" he said. "She became a star for you." I froze. Because of her parents, Jinhui had always hated the idea of being a celebrity. When her family tried to get her into acting as a kid, she refused. But after your breakup, she suddenly said she wanted to be a star because you loved movies. "Being famous," she said, "means standing in the brightest, highest place so you can see me." And it was true. One night, I couldn't sleep and started chatting with her. "Hey, Jinhui, are you up?" "Yeah. I watched this movie today, The Shawshank Redemption. It was amazing." "Not interested. I want to make movies someday." "Sounds expensive." "Too bad I'm broke." "It's not. Make them." I thought she didn't get it, that she was dreaming, so I said nothing more. But she remembered everything. The agent sighed. 3 months, and she's carried it for a lifetime. That afternoon, Jinhui came back. "What are you doing here?" she asked the agent. "You're wrapping soon. Came to clean up." "No need. Leave. And cancel all my upcoming gigs. I'm taking a break." "Shh. Abandoning your friends for a guy." "Remember how you used to cry your eyes out in front of me because you couldn't find him?" Jinhui snapped, embarrassed. "Don't say that in front of my boyfriend." I corrected her. "Ex-boyfriend. You never broke up with me properly, so it doesn't count. I wrote a letter." "That's just a letter." "I threw it out. Who knows if you even wrote it yourself?" Her agent wisely made himself scarce. I said, "Jinhui, weren't you mad when you read that letter? I said I got close to dig up dirt on you." She laughed. "You? Please. You don't have the guts. Besides, if you leaked anything, I'd have seen it in the news." I fell silent. She went to wash fruit. I said, "It only takes one person to end a relationship." "No matter what you say, it's over between us." Her body stiffened. "Then I'll chase you." "It's useless, Jinhui. Are you mad at me?" she asked nervously. "Because I lied about my background? Or because I didn't explain things with Suzuran?" "All of it, and none of it. Jinhui, we're from different worlds. Let it go." The room went dead silent. After a long pause, her eyes turned bloodshot. Voice trembling, she said, "I won't let it go." I didn't take her seriously. After the shoot wrapped, I went back home. My aunt's old house was being torn down, and she asked me to help move the furniture. She may have favored her own kids, but she raised me all the same. I wouldn't be ungrateful. On the way home, I passed by my old high school. The buildings had been renovated a few years back and looked totally different. I stood at the gate for a while when someone called out to me. "Hey, aren't you that guy? I remember you." A woman came out of the janitor's room. She looked about my age. "You were in this school, right? I remember you were in the same class as Jinhui, weren't you?" I nodded. "And you are?" "I once had a fight with Jinhui," she said. "Anyway, why are you here alone today? Where's Jinhui? Wasn't she always following you around?" I froze. "Following me?" "Yeah. After evening classes, she always walked behind you." That evening, as I left the school, the sky was brushed with a streak of sunset. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Jinhui. Did you get home? She rarely sent such casual messages. I replied, just arrived. A few seconds later, she called. I hesitated, but picked up. She didn't say anything at first, just the sound of wind, like she was outside. I spoke first. It's noisy where you are. Where are you? On a rooftop, she said. Just finished an emotional scene. Not feeling great. You still let your mood be affected by acting? I chuckled. You think I'm heartless? She said, then paused. You used to think that, didn't you? I said nothing. Sensing the silence, she added, I'm near your place right now. I sat up straight. What did you say? You still live in the same place? Did that basement get torn down? I got up and walked to the window. Across a row of fences and a few sycamore trees, under the streetlight, I saw her in a light gray trench coat, looking at her phone. The wind messed up her hair. She looked up toward me. Come out, she said. I sighed, grabbed my keys, and went downstairs. She smiled when she saw me and pulled her hands from her pockets. Haven't been here in a long time. I didn't speak, just kicked a pebble on the ground. Did you ever think I'd come find you? She asked. No, I answered honestly. Do you really not want to get back together? She asked softly. Jinhui, it's not about feelings anymore. I paused. It's about reality. I don't believe that, she said, locking eyes with me. I can change for you. I don't care about our different backgrounds. You shouldn't have to change for anyone, replied. You're amazing. You shouldn't waste 7 years on someone like me. She fell silent. We walked side by side for a while. Neither of us mentioned the past. The wind was chilly. Jinhui sneezed. I took off my coat and draped it over her shoulders. She blinked, then smiled. You've always been like this. What's wrong with that? Nothing, she said, eyes gleaming. That's why I never stopped looking for you. Hey, hi. Want to have a drink tonight? Celebrate my rap party? I don't drink. I smiled. But I can sit with you. She picked a quiet little bar. Warm yellow lights, wooden furniture, and the scent of fruit and wine in the air. We ordered 2 glasses of fruit wine. I barely touched mine. She drank hers quickly. Are you drunk? I asked. No. She lay her head on the table, voice muffled. I'm just scared you'll leave. I froze. You once said be right back, and I believed you, she said. Hi. I think about you every day. She lifted her head. Her eyes shimmered. In the years you were gone, I tried so hard to forget you. But I also hoped, every day, that you'd come back. I didn't know what to say. She stared at me and said, word by word, hi. Let me ask you one more time. Would you start over with me? I was silent for a long time. The scent of wine lingered between us, but her Gesite burned hotter than the wine. I'm not sure, I admitted. If I said yes right now, wouldn't that be irresponsible? So it's not that you don't want to. You're just afraid. I'm afraid we'll fail again. I looked down. Jinhui, you shouldn't pin your hopes on me. Why do you always make decisions for me? She said, suddenly emotional. I like you. That's my choice. Chasing you, that's my decision. Her eyes were red. I panicked a little. Then she smiled, tilting her head. Fine, I was just asking. I won't pressure you. I knew she was sulking, but also giving me a way out. As we left the bar, she walked ahead. The wind blew her hair. She didn't look back. I called out, Jinhui. She stopped. Thank you, I said, for coming back for me. She turned and looked at me. I never left you, she said. You left me. I stood frozen. But now I've picked you back up, she said softly. And this time, don't run. That night, we didn't say anything more romantic. I walked her to the hotel and left. I didn't notice her right before the elevator doors closed. She was still watching me. In the days that followed, I took on a new project. From studio to editing room, I was buried in work. Jinhui, meanwhile, seemed to vanish from my life. No messages, no calls. I figured she'd finally moved on. Until one night, I found an email in my inbox. Subject line, screenplay. I opened it. It was a short film titled Be Right Back. Author, Jinhui. It told the story of lovers torn apart by misunderstanding, reunited years later. The heroine chases the man, and on a rainy night, they meet again outside a convenience store. I couldn't help but laugh. I remembered her saying she'd never written a script before, but the lines, so many of them were things we had once said to each other. I replied, "I want to direct this. Will you play the lead actress?" A few minutes later, she replied, "Yes, but only if you play the male lead." I wrote back, "I'm not an actor." She said, "Neither was I, but I am now." I stared at her message, smiling and shaking my head. We actually started filming. For the first time in my life, I was both the director and the male lead. Jinhui gave it her all, even more than she did in commercials. She said, "This isn't just a film, it's our memory." That scene, we stood outside the convenience store in the rain, facing each other. She handed me a chocolate. "You said you'd be right back," she whispered. "I waited 7 years." I took the chocolate, eyes misty. I came back. The director called. Cut. Silence. Someone in the crew wiped their eyes. "This isn't acting," they said. "This is real." Jinhui looked at me. We didn't smile. We didn't cry. She asked softly, "Hi, did I act well?" "You did," I said. "You really did." The short film was done. Post-production took less than a week. Jinhui didn't say much, just asked if I had time to watch it together. That night, we curled up in her private screening room. As the screen lit up, the room fell into silence. The film was only 20 minutes long, but it felt like a sharp, burning confession. From first meeting, to misunderstanding, to reunion, the camera stretched and pulled every emotion tight. And when the final words came, I came back. Even the air seemed to tremble. As the lights came up, I turned my head and saw Jinhui sitting silently in her seat. "That turned out pretty well," I said. She nodded. "Do you want to submit it to a festival?" "No." "Then?" I asked, confused. She looked at me, voice calm. "I just wanted to give us an ending." "The film already gave us one," I said. "You acted it yourself, but real life didn't." I went quiet for a few seconds. "In real life, our story's not finished." She looked at me. "Then would you be willing to give it an ending?" I lowered my head, smiled. "I'm afraid I won't write it well." "I'm not afraid," she said. "I used to not believe in fate. Now I do. After all the twists and turns of 7 years, for us to meet again, that can't be a coincidence. If you run again, I'll just keep chasing. Even if it kills me, I'll chase." She looked at me. "Hi, can't you just give in once?" I stared at her, momentarily lost. That rebellious girl who used to knock on my basement window at night was now sitting in front of me, still as stubborn as ever. I didn't answer. She sighed lightly. "Okay, I'm pushing too hard." A few days later, I returned to the company. The moment I walked in, the producer grabbed me. "That short film, you and Jinhui Medit's blowing up." I blinked. "How do you know?" "She posted it on her WeChat Moments, limited to 3 days. You didn't see it?" I pulled out my phone and opened WeChat. Sure enough, Jinhui's post. "Be right back." For the one who said he was just going out to buy chocolate. The comments flooded in, half of them from people in the industry. "Was this real acting? You were glowing. Such a high-quality short. I'm obsessed." "Who's the male lead? Is he newly signed? What's his name?" "Hui, gee, are you finally dating? Go public already." I closed my phone. My heart was racing. As I opened the office door, the producer craned his neck to look at me. "You're really not her boyfriend." I sighed. "I'm not. But you two look so real." I paused. We used to be." Jinhui didn't contact me again. As if, after chasing me so fiercely, she'd suddenly hit pause. But inside, I wasn't calm. I started dreaming about her often, about the basement nights, about the silence after she snapped, "Just leave." And about her saying, "I don't believe in fate, but I believe in you." In real life, I couldn't respond. But in my dreams, over and over, I said it back. "Jinhui, I believe in you too." One morning, I woke from a dream like that. Dawn was breaking. I sat on my bed, took out my phone, opened our chat window. My finger hovered over the keyboard, but I couldn't type. It wasn't about the words. It was about courage. Eventually, I sent, "Are you free tomorrow?" A few seconds later, she replied, "Yeah." I asked, "Want to meet up?" She sent a sticker, a nodding cartoon dog. The next afternoon, I took her to the milk tea shop we used to walk past all the time. New owner, new decor. But the counter we once leaned against while waiting for drinks was still there. She stood at the entrance and glanced inside. "So it's still here?" "Yeah. The signs changed a few times, but it never closed." I smiled. Too bad the coconut jelly changed its recipe. Doesn't taste good anymore. "Want to try something else?" She shook her head. I liked the original. We ordered 2 drinks and sat in a corner. Sunlight streamed through the window, brushing her eyelashes. Suddenly, I remembered she used to sit just like this in high school. 1 milk tea on the table, back to the window. Back then, before you came to my basement every night, did you always stop at the convenience store? "Yeah, in case you were hungry." She said it so matter-of-factly. "But you didn't have money either." "I can go without," she said, glancing at me. "You were too skinny, like the wind would knock you over." "So that's why you followed behind me every day?" She paused, a little shy. "I was afraid you'd get bullied." "Weren't you worried I'd find you annoying?" "I was insecure back then," she murmured. "Everyone said I was a bad kid, bad grades, always fighting, skipping class." "You were the first person who was ever really kind to me." She clutched her cup. "So I couldn't help sticking close. Even when you said you hated me, I still wanted to see you one more time." She smiled. "You know, you were pretty cool back then. Smart, bookish. I thought you were like, from another world." I laughed. I couldn't even afford textbooks. "But you had this glow about you." Something in me trembled at her words. Turns out, we both thought we were the ones in darkness, and the other was the light. "And now?" I asked. "Do you still think I have that glow?" "You're brighter than before," she said, sipping her drink. "That's why I'm scared. Scared I won't catch up." "I'm scared too," I said, looking at her. "Scared of losing you again." She looked at me. Her gaze softened, warming. We stared at each other in silence. Then she said, "Then don't go again, please." I nodded. "Okay." In that moment, I understood love isn't about winning. It's not a gamble or a fight. It's having someone who, through all the chaos of time, never forgets you, never stops hoping. Whether you turn back or not, she's still standing there. We never made a public announcement. We didn't hide either. On set, she still ordered me around, and I happily went along with it. Hi, get me a milk tea." Hi, I forgot my script." Hi, I want hot pot for lunch." One colleague finally asked, "Why do you spoil her so much?" I smiled. She used to take care of me like that too. After rap one night, I sat in Jinhui's car, watching the neon lights outside. "Tell me," I said, "are we finally equals now?" She tilted her head. "When did you think we weren't? You were a star's kid, an award-winning actress. I was just an assistant." She chuckled. "Did you know? I used to think you were out of reach." "Why?" "You were earnest, grounded, full of dreams." I looked at Heron suddenly. All the waiting, the missed chances, the regrets they felt worth it. She leaned on my shoulder, closed her eyes, and whispered, Hi. This time, you're not allowed to leave." I didn't promise anything. I just held her hand a little tighter. We never made it official, never declared we were back together. It was like the tide receding and finding the same beach, still waiting. On the day the film officially wrapped, Jinhui posted on Weibo, "Wrap day, someone owes me dinner. And this time, don't say you'll be right back." The comments exploded, CP fans guessing wildly. I was peeling shrimp for her when she leaned over smugly. "Guess how many people want us to get together?" I glanced up. "Why don't you just tag me? I'm afraid you'll get flamed by trolls." "Who cares? I'm not a public figure." Then she looked at me. "So, would you let me?" "Let me tell the world you're my boyfriend." I picked up a napkin, wiped my hands, and said clearly, word by word, "I'd love that." Wow. Her eyes widened. "Then I'll wait for your Weibo post." I chuckled. When I said I'm willing, I meant I'm willing to stay by your side. As for Weibo, you're the movie queen. You call the shots." She didn't say anything more, just nodded hard. But life is never smooth sailing. Rumors began to swirl. Some said I was Jin Hui's new protege. Others dug into my past, exposing my old identity, her ex-boyfriend, with a new name. Suddenly, the internet was a mess. They unearthed photos from my student days. Some mocked me for being a country bumpkin who leveled up. Others sympathized with the tragic side, character who finally got his chance. The higher-ups at my company called me in. "Do you want to consider stepping back from the project for now?" When Jin Hui found out, she said it loud and clear at the press conference. "I believe in him. I hope you all give him some space. He's just trying to make movies the right way." After that press conference, public opinion slowly shifted. Some said Jin Hui really protects her own. Others said she's got good taste. And someone commented, "You can tell this wasn't a whim." I never responded publicly. Instead, I just worked harder. I let my editing and visuals speak for me. I wasn't anyone's symbolic deputy director. Jin Hui would sometimes drop by the set, quietly watching me from behind the monitor. Sometimes, I'd turn around and see her. Our eyes would meet across the crowd. No grand gestures, but we both knew just being there for each other was enough. One night, I was on the balcony reading a script. Jin Hui came out fresh from a shower, wrapped in a robe, her damp hair dripping water. She sat next to me, eyes on my laptop screen. "Another script?" "Yeah, inspiration hit." "What's it about?" "A boy and girl who knew each other since high school. Life pulls them apart. They meet again." "You wrote that. Don't tell me it's our story again." I smiled and shut the laptop. "Take a guess." She leaned against my shoulder and whispered, "Write it. Whatever the ending is, I'm not scared anymore." "Why not?" "Because you're here." She pointed to her chest. I didn't answer. I just pulled her into my arms. Outside, the night deepened. The stars were faint. A breeze drifted through the room just like those summer nights, the rainy days and all the silent waiting we once shared. But now, we no longer had to say, "I'll be right back," because we both came back. Another year passed. Be Right Back was selected for the Youth Directors Film Festival. I stood at the end of the red carpet, waiting to walk the final stretch. Jin Hui stepped out of the car in a custom gown, heels clicking as she walked toward me. A storm of flashes lit up the night. She stopped in front of me and hooked her arm through mine. The photographers went wild, shutters snapping non-stop. Someone shouted, "Ms. Jin, how are you feeling tonight?" She smiled at the mic, calm and soft. "Wonderful." "Why?" She turned to me and answered quietly, "Because someone's here." The flashes flickered. The shutters slowed. The story hadn't ended. It had simply turned to the next chapter. And so had we.